The joys of boating, we never quite know when things are going to go wrong out on the water, just like some of the things we'll witness in this week's episode of Boating News of the Week, and kind of like what we'll witness right here. This is the 33-foot sailing vessel True Love, and its owner was actually rescued almost 100 miles off the coast of Cape Hatteras several weeks prior to this, but the vessel had been afloat for several weeks, and it finally found its way back to shore here in Nags Head, North Carolina, and looks like they'll probably need a little bit of a tow assist to get this one back in the water, kind of like our first story, which is going to take us over to Japan, where this was the scene just a little bit over a week ago, when the vessel named Tassie Maru number 21, a 31-year-old cargo ship, was sailing Japan's inner sea just east of the city of Hiroshima, when at approximately 1 a.m., the vessel wound up striking an island and running aground. The 249-foot vessel had been sailing between Tasagano City and Kobe in the eastern portion of the sea, when all of a sudden it ran aground as seen in these images. At the time of the incident, the vessel did have 5 crew members on board and no injuries were reported. An investigation has been launched to try and determine the cause of the accident. At this time, they don't believe weather played any part in the incident, so it's likely going to be human error or possible mechanical failure. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to the coast of Greece, where this was the scene a little over a week ago when the Hellenic Coast Guard responded to the collision of 2 cargo vessels sailing northwest of the Greek island of Chios in the eastern Aegean. The 370-foot cargo vessel Ant, seen in these images here, is reported to have collided with the 454-foot cargo vessel Potinia just off the coast of the Greek islands, leaving the damage that is seen in these images here. At the time of the incident, the Coast Guard is reporting there were 13 crew members on board the Ant, and no injuries were reported besides the obvious damage to the vessel that was seen in the images. This vessel is a Turkish-owned vessel. The Hellenic Coast Guard did alert the vessel that this incident occurred in Greek waters. Because of that, the Ant actually refused assistance from the Hellenic Coast Guard and determined they were gonna go ahead and try and make it back into Turkish waters under its own power. According to AIS data, the vessel actually did make it back to the coast of Turkey, but at a snail's pace at approximately 4 knots per hour, but I'm surprised with this kind of damage they were actually able to get back at all. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to the coast of Italy, where this was the scene this past week, when the 732-foot ferry vessel Galata Seaways departed Yavola, Turkey, bound for France, when all of a sudden crew members on board the vessel spotted approximately 15 to 20 stowaways in various areas on the ship on security cameras, with several of those stowaways reported to have weapons on board. The crew quickly jumped into action and began to lock down the vessel, with reports indicating that many of the crew were able to lock themselves into safe compartments such as the engine room and other secure locations. The captain of the vessel quickly alerted authorities to the situation of the possible attempted takeover of the ship. Italian authorities responded quickly, with Italian special forces actually being dropped onto the ferry to try and secure the vessel. Now, it is being reported by the captain at some point in time the stowaways did try and storm the locked bridge of the vessel, but were unsuccessful in doing so. Upon arriving on the vessel, Italian special forces began searching every compartment of the vessel to work on rounding up all the stowaways. The vessel continued on to Naples Bay, where it wound up anchoring in the bay and staying offshore while officials still went through the ship. The Italian Defense Minister Guido Corsado later wrote on Twitter the ship's hijackers had all been captured. Everything ended well, and he gave his congratulations to the guys from the San Marco Battalion, the policemen and the financiers, who all concluded a splendid operation in collaboration, and he thanked everyone for their part well done. Reports indicate that the first vessels to intercept the ship were the Guardia di Finanza patrol boat Sana, the Coast Guard vessel Bruno Gregoretti, which both intercepted the Roro vessel just outside of Naples just before the helicopters arrived, dropping the special forces onto the boat. No injuries were reported in the incident. The boat did spend several days anchored in Naples Bay, as authorities did a thorough sweep of the boat to make sure there was nobody else left on board. But great job by the crew of this vessel, all jumping into quick action and locking themselves down and reaching out to the proper authorities, who also responded very quickly. This incident could have had a very different turn, but everything worked out the best way it could in the end. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.